Ladies and gentlemen, imagine waking up one day and realizing that everything you've believed about yourself, your limits, your failures, your past was holding you back from the life you were meant to live. What if I told you that you have the power to tear down the walls that confine you, rebuild yourself from the ground up, and completely change your life? Today, we're going to uncover the blueprint for transformation, and by the end, you'll see that the person you've always wanted to become is not just possible. It's waiting for you to step into it. Ladies and gentlemen, let me start by asking you a simple question. When was the last time you truly looked in the mirror, not just at your face, but at the life you are living? When was the last time you asked yourself if what you are doing today is aligned with who you want to become tomorrow? We often drift through life, thinking that the world shapes us, thinking that circumstances define us. But the truth is far more empowering. The world doesn't define you, your choices do. The question is not about what has happened to you, but what you are willing to do to rebuild yourself, to reshape your future, and ultimately to change your life. Rebuilding yourself is not about sudden transformations or dramatic shifts. It's about understanding your why. Why do you want to rebuild? Why do you want to change? Simon Sinek teaches us that when you start with why, the how and the what follow naturally. And this is not just theory, this is the foundation of real, lasting change. If your why is clear, if your purpose is strong, then no obstacle, no setback, and no failure can stop you. When you rebuild with purpose, every decision you make, every step you take, becomes intentional. You start aligning your actions with the life you want to live, rather than reacting to the life you were handed. Imagine your life as a house. Right now, it might be in disrepair. Maybe the walls have cracks, maybe the foundation feels weak. Rebuilding yourself is not about ignoring the damage. It's about confronting it. It's about identifying the areas where you've allowed fear, doubt, or comfort to take over. It's about asking yourself the hard questions. Which habits are holding me back? Which relationships are draining my energy? Which beliefs no longer serve the person I want to become? And then, piece by piece, brick by brick, you begin the process of reconstruction. Here's the key. You cannot rebuild what you do not confront. The first step is ownership. You must own your past, your choices, your mistakes, not to dwell on them, but to understand them, to learn from them, and to extract the lessons hidden within failure. Too many people spend years blaming circumstances, blaming other people, blaming life itself, and in that blame they remain stagnant. But the moment you take responsibility, the moment you recognize that the power to rebuild resides entirely within you, the doors of possibility swing open. That is where change begins, not tomorrow, not next year, but right now. As you rebuild, you will face discomfort. Change is uncomfortable because growth is uncomfortable. You will need to let go of old identities, outdated beliefs, and habits that no longer serve your purpose. You will encounter resistance, sometimes from others, sometimes from within yourself, and this is precisely where the real work happens. Every time you confront discomfort instead of avoiding it, you are laying the foundation for resilience. Every time you choose action over excuses, you are reinforcing your capacity to create the life you envision. Rebuilding is not linear. It is a series of deliberate decisions, small victories that accumulate into momentum, until one day, you look back and realize that the life you once imagined is no longer a dream, it is your reality. But here's an important insight. Rebuilding yourself is not solely about personal gain. It's about contribution, connection, and impact. The stronger, wiser, and more intentional you become, the more you are able to influence the people and the world around you. When you rebuild yourself, you are not just creating a better life for yourself. You are creating a better environment for everyone you touch. Purpose, clarity, and intentionality are contagious. And when you live with authenticity, courage, and a relentless commitment to growth, you inspire others to do the same. So if you feel lost, if you feel broken, if you feel stuck, remember this. You have the capacity to rebuild. You have the power to redefine yourself. You have the ability to make choices today that shape the trajectory of your life for years to come. Start with your why, confront the truth of your life, take ownership of your actions, embrace discomfort as a signal of growth, and commit to consistent, deliberate effort. This is the blueprint. This is the path from where you are to where you want to be. The life you want, the life you deserve, is not waiting for you in some distant future. It begins with the first conscious choice you make to rebuild yourself. Every setback is an opportunity, every challenge is a lesson, and every moment is a chance to start again. The question is not whether you can change your life, it's whether you are willing to do the work to rebuild yourself. Step into that power, step into that responsibility, and step into a life that is fully, unapologetically yours. Every choice you make from this point forward becomes a declaration of who you are willing to become. And here is a truth many people overlook. Rebuilding yourself is not about erasing your past. It's about using it as a compass. Every failure, every heartbreak, every disappointment carries within it a lesson, a piece of the map that points you toward your true potential. The moment you stop seeing setbacks as obstacles and start seeing them as guidance, you unlock a new way of thinking. You begin to understand that life doesn't happen to you. It happens for you, and that shift in perspective changes everything. When you commit to rebuilding yourself, you realize that the smallest actions matter. Every morning you choose discipline over comfort. Every time you push past fear to take meaningful action, you are reinforcing your foundation. These small, consistent decisions accumulate in ways that are almost imperceptible day to day, yet they compound into monumental transformation over months and years. One choice today can ripple through your life, setting off a chain of events that moves you closer to the person you are meant to be. This is the power of intentionality, and it is available to anyone willing to act. As you move through this process, you will discover that identity is not static. Too many people allow themselves to be defined by labels they inherited, by expectations imposed by society, by past mistakes they have carried like weights. Rebuilding yourself requires a willingness to redefine who you are on your own terms. It's about creating a self-concept rooted in potential rather than limitation, in courage rather than fear, in purpose rather than distraction. Ask yourself every day, who do I want to be in this moment? Who do I choose to become through my actions? And then act in alignment with that vision, even if it feels uncomfortable, even if it feels unfamiliar. Another essential part of rebuilding yourself is the people you allow into your life. Surround yourself with those who challenge you, who hold you accountable, who believe in your potential even when you struggle to believe in yourself. Toxic relationships, negative influences, and draining environments are obstacles to your transformation. Letting go of them is not selfish, it is necessary. Your energy, your focus, your time are finite resources. Protect them fiercely. Invest them in people, experiences, and opportunities that fuel your growth. The company you keep shapes the life you build, and the right people will amplify your efforts, hold the mirror of truth to your face, and inspire you to push further than you thought possible. Rebuilding yourself also demands courage, the kind of courage that whispers, "I will act even though I am afraid." Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward despite it. Every time you confront fear, you expand the boundaries of what is possible. Every time you challenge the status quo of your habits, your thoughts, your routines, you take one more step toward a life that is yours to design. Fear is a signal, not a prison. It tells you where growth awaits. Lean into it. Allow it to guide you, not control you. And in this process, patience becomes your ally. Transformation is not instantaneous. It is the product of relentless effort, day after day, decision after decision. There will be moments when progress seems invisible, when old patterns reassert themselves, when doubt creeps in like a shadow. These are the tests the universe asking if you are committed to the process, not just the outcome. Remember, the strongest foundations are built slowly, deliberately, and with care. Every time you persist, every time you rise after falling, you are strengthening that foundation, even if you cannot yet see the full structure emerging. As you rebuild, clarity becomes your compass. Knowing what you value, knowing the principles that guide you, gives you an internal map that no external circumstance can derail. Without clarity, effort dissipates, energy leaks, and motivation falters. With clarity, however, every action has purpose, every choice is aligned with your vision, and every challenge becomes a step toward growth rather than a distraction. The process of self-rebuilding is, in essence, the process of clarifying your life, your values, your priorities, your goals, and the legacy you wish to leave. One of the most overlooked truths about rebuilding yourself is that it is not a solitary journey, even though much of the work must be done within. As you strengthen your mindset, refine your habits, and define your purpose, you inevitably impact others. The courage you cultivate, the resilience you embody, the authenticity you live inspires those around you. Your transformation becomes a ripple effect. By choosing to rebuild, you are not only changing your life, you are raising the standard of possibility for everyone who witnesses your journey. Finally, understand that rebuilding yourself is a lifelong commitment. There will never be a moment when you are finished. Life is dynamic, circumstances change, and growth is infinite. The difference between those who flourish and those who stagnate lies in the willingness to continuously evolve, to question, to learn, to adapt, and to take deliberate action. To rebuild yourself is to embrace the endless potential within you, to refuse complacency, and to claim ownership over the life you are creating with every choice, every thought, and every action. The journey of rebuilding is not a burden, it is an invitation. It is an invitation to step fully into your power, to design your life with intention, to break free from limitations, and to embrace the extraordinary potential that has always existed within you. Every moment offers a choice, every challenge an opportunity, and every decision a chance to align closer with the person you are meant to become. When you commit to this process, you are no longer a passenger in your own life. You are the architect, the builder, and the visionary. And in that role, you hold the blueprint to a life transformed, a life rebuilt, and a life that reflects the highest version of yourself. And as you continue to walk this path of rebuilding, you will begin to notice a shift in how you see challenges. They no longer appear as obstacles meant to stop you, but as signposts guiding you toward growth. Every difficulty carries within it an opportunity to strengthen your character, refine your skills, and clarify your vision. Life will inevitably test you, sometimes in ways that feel unfair, sometimes in ways that shake you to your core. But each test is also a mirror, reflecting back the areas where you still have room to grow. The difference between those who remain stagnant and those who thrive is the willingness to confront these tests head on rather than sidestep them, to extract their lessons rather than resent them. The moment you adopt this mindset, you reclaim control over your narrative and start shaping a life of intentionality rather than reaction. Rebuilding yourself also demands a deep, unrelenting honesty. You cannot grow without truth, and you cannot rebuild without acknowledging reality. This means looking at yourself without filters, without excuses, and without denial. It means recognizing where you've fallen short, where you've hidden behind comfort, and where you've allowed fear to dictate your choices. This process can be uncomfortable, even painful, but honesty is the foundation of transformation. When you see yourself clearly, you can start to take precise, meaningful action. You can identify the habits that no longer serve you, the patterns that limit your potential, and the beliefs that have quietly sabotaged your progress. Clarity born from honesty is a tool more powerful than motivation. It is enduring, actionable, and transformative. And here is another essential truth. Rebuilding yourself is not about rushing the process. Far too many people want immediate results. They want to feel different, act different, and achieve different outcomes overnight. But transformation is not a race, it is a journey. Every deliberate choice, every consistent action, and every moment of persistence compounds over time. The small victories that seem insignificant today are the foundation of monumental change tomorrow. Mastery, strength, and resilience are not products of speed. They are products of consistency, discipline, and unwavering commitment to the process. When you learn to embrace patience as a companion rather than an obstacle, you free yourself from the tyranny of instant gratification and create the conditions for sustainable, profound growth. Part of this journey involves redefining your relationship with fear. Fear is not the enemy. It is a signal that you are moving beyond your comfort zone, stretching toward growth and stepping into the unknown. The difference between those who transform and those who remain confined by circumstance is how they respond to fear. Do you shrink back, allowing it to paralyze you, or do you lean into it, recognizing it as evidence that you are pushing towards something meaningful? Every act of courage, no matter how small, is a brick in the foundation of the life you are building. Each step forward strengthens your resilience, expands your capacity for growth, and reinforces your belief in your ability to shape your destiny. As you rebuild, you will also discover the importance of boundaries. Rebuilding yourself is not just about adding new habits, ideas, and relationships. It is also about removing what no longer serves you. This requires discernment, courage, and discipline. Let go of the people, the routines, and the beliefs that drain your energy, distort your focus, or undermine your potential. Protect your time and your energy fiercely, because these are the most valuable resources you have. By creating space for what truly matters, you allow growth, clarity, and purpose to flourish. Boundaries are not limitations, they are acts of self-respect and empowerment that allow you to channel your energy toward the life you want to create. Another truth you will encounter is that rebuilding is both internal and external. Internal work, clarifying your purpose, mastering your mindset, and cultivating resilience is the engine that drives transformation. But external action, taking bold steps, pursuing opportunities, and creating tangible results, is how you translate internal change into real-world impact. One without the other leaves you either stuck in thought or stranded in effort without direction. The synergy of internal clarity and external action is what creates momentum, what turns vision into reality, and what transforms potential into achievement. And as you continue to evolve, you will notice a profound shift in how you define success. Success is no longer a distant destination or a set of external markers. It becomes a reflection of alignment, purpose, and growth. It is the satisfaction of knowing that each choice you make is intentional, that each action moves you closer to the person you aspire to become, and that each day you are building a life that resonates with your values and your vision. Success, in this sense, is not measured by accolades, wealth, or approval. It is measured by integrity, progress, and the courage to live authentically. Rebuilding yourself also invites the practice of gratitude. Gratitude is not passive. It is active recognition of the resources, lessons, and opportunities you already possess. When you cultivate gratitude, you shift your focus from scarcity to possibility. You see what is present rather than what is absent, which fuels resilience, creativity, and motivation. Gratitude is the soil in which growth flourishes, because it reminds you that even amidst challenge, there is strength, there is potential, and there is opportunity. And finally, as you walk this path, remember that rebuilding yourself is a declaration of hope. It is the statement that no matter where you started, no matter what has happened, you have the power to change, to grow, and to create a life of purpose, meaning, and impact. Each choice, each action, each moment of courage compounds over time, transforming not only your circumstances, but also your identity. The process is demanding, the journey is long, and the work is never complete, but the reward is a life that reflects the highest version of yourself, a life that is intentionally built rather than passively endured, and a life that proves that change is not only possible, it is inevitable for those willing to rebuild. As you continue to rebuild, you will come to realize that the most powerful tool you have is not your circumstances, your talents, or even your connections. It is your mindset. Your mind shapes how you perceive the world, how you respond to setbacks, and how you interpret every experience along your journey. A resilient, growth-oriented mindset allows you to see opportunity where others see failure, to extract lessons where others see loss, and to maintain focus where others see distraction. Your thoughts are the architects of your life. When you intentionally cultivate beliefs that empower rather than limit, you begin to transform every area of your existence. The reality you experience is a reflection of the internal dialogue you nurture. And this is why rebuilding begins with mental clarity and self-awareness. Part of this process is learning to master your inner narrative. Many people live under the weight of self-imposed limitations, believing that they are defined by past mistakes, missed opportunities, or external judgments. Rebuilding yourself requires challenging that narrative at its core. Ask yourself, are these beliefs true? Are they serving me? Or are they simply inherited stories that keep me small? Every time you confront and rewrite a limiting belief, you reclaim a piece of your power. You begin to see that who you are today is not a fixed destination but a point of departure. Your potential is not a finite resource. It is an expansive landscape waiting to be explored with courage, persistence, and intention. As you strengthen your mindset, you will notice the role of discipline in the rebuilding process. Discipline is not punishment, it is a framework for freedom. It is the mechanism by which you take control over your actions, your habits, and your results. Discipline is the bridge between goals and achievement, between intention and impact. It shows up in the small choices, the commitment to rise early when your body resists, the decision to pursue growth instead of comfort, the willingness to stay consistent even when progress seemed invisible. Each act of disciplined action compounds over time, building momentum that propels you toward the life you are consciously creating. Equally important is the cultivation of emotional resilience. Rebuilding yourself requires navigating uncertainty, setbacks, and even failure. It demands the ability to feel deeply, yet remain steadfast, to experience disappointment without being defeated, and to confront fear without surrendering to it. Emotional resilience is not about suppressing feelings. It is about mastering the capacity to respond constructively to them. It is about creating an internal environment in which challenges become opportunities, adversity becomes fuel, and discomfort becomes a signal that growth is happening. The more resilient you become, the more impervious you are to external turbulence, and the more confident you grow in your ability to shape your life. Another critical dimension of rebuilding yourself is the power of intentional habits. Habits are the invisible architecture of your daily life. They determine the trajectory of your results, often more than talent, luck, or circumstance. To rebuild yourself, you must examine your habits with honesty, keeping those that align with your vision and discarding those that do not. This requires self-awareness, courage, and consistency. Each habit you adopt is a vote for the person you are becoming. Small, positive actions repeated daily generate compounding returns that create profound transformation over time. Conversely, unchecked habits that drain energy or limit growth will quietly erode your progress. This is why the deliberate design of daily rituals is central to the process of rebuilding. As you reconstruct your life, you will also encounter the power of focus. Focus is the lens through which your energy, attention, and resources are concentrated. When focus is lacking, effort dissipates and momentum falters. When focus is intentional, even modest action can yield extraordinary results. Rebuilding yourself requires choosing where to direct your energy with precision, saying no to distractions, and prioritizing the few actions that generate the greatest impact. Focus amplifies your effectiveness, accelerates your growth, and ensures that your efforts align with your vision rather than drifting aimlessly in reaction to circumstance. Rebuilding yourself is also deeply intertwined with the pursuit of purpose. Purpose is the fuel that sustains effort, ignites passion, and provides clarity when the path forward seems uncertain. Without purpose, rebuilding becomes a series of disconnected actions. With purpose, it becomes a deliberate journey, a narrative in which every challenge, every choice, and every victory contributes to a meaningful story. Discovering your purpose requires introspection, courage, and honesty. It requires asking yourself, what matters most? What legacy do I want to leave? What kind of impact do I want to have? When your rebuilding efforts are guided by purpose, every step becomes meaningful, and every effort compounds in ways that align with the life you envision. Relationships also play a pivotal role in this journey. The people you surround yourself with can either elevate or undermine your growth. As you rebuild, seek out those who challenge you, who encourage accountability, who inspire you to reach higher. Limit exposure to those who foster doubt, negativity, or complacency. The influence of others is subtle yet profound. Your environment often mirrors your inner state. Surround yourself with individuals who reflect the energy, vision, and values you aspire to embody, and you will find that the process of rebuilding accelerates naturally, guided by collective motivation and shared accountability. Finally, rebuilding yourself requires embracing the long-term perspective. Transformation is not about instant results. It is about sustained effort, incremental progress, and unwavering commitment. Every decision, every action, every choice contributes to a larger trajectory. Some days will feel like progress, others may feel stagnant. Yet each day adds a layer to the foundation of who you are becoming. The willingness to remain steadfast, to persist in the face of discomfort, and to continuously invest in yourself, even when results are not immediately visible, is what distinguishes those who rebuild successfully from those who remain constrained by circumstance. Through mindset, discipline, resilience, habits, focus, purpose, relationships, and long-term commitment, you gradually become the architect of your own life. You transition from reacting to life to designing it, from surviving to thriving, from existing to intentionally creating. The process of rebuilding is not simply about changing circumstances. It is about transforming yourself into someone capable of navigating, shaping, and elevating every aspect of your life. Each step forward, no matter how small, compounds into a life of impact, purpose, and fulfillment, creating a trajectory that reflects not just what you have endured, but what you are willing to build.